Curious about wind removing pose? Then this is the short and sweet class for you. We're going to dive into the details of this posture and also target some common mistakes that people make as they're doing this pose. That is coming up right now. I'm going to roll the intro screen. Hello, magnificent human beings. My name is Landon Slaughter. This channel is all about fixing the kinks in your yoga practice by deepening your knowledge so that you can create a truly transformative practice for yourself. So today it is all about wind removing, and I think there's this posture really just is not understood very well because I think we just see one thing and our brain does another, and so we kind of get confused. So let's talk about some of the common misalignment things in this posture. So after you move your microphone belt out of the way, laying on down, we start right knee, hug it on in. You do both knees, hug it on in, and then the left knee, and you bring it on in. So let's just start one knee at a time. So interlace your fingers, bring them on top of that shin. So kind of the top part of your shin, bottom part of your knee. And we often see people coming out here for wind removing, and I get it because it gets into your hip, and that's fine. But if we really want to get into, those intestines and give our inner organs some love as well, then we need to bring this knee closer in. And I'll often cue this in my classes saying, bring your knee in towards your midline. And folks think, okay, bring it in towards my midline. And then they come to, about here. When in reality, if you look down and then bring it in kind of towards your sternum, really towards your midline here, this changes the pinch in your hip just a little bit. And that's what we want, because we're really starting to target then kind of those areas that we want to get into through our, through our colon and everything as well, right? The transverse, and then on through the, ascending, transverse, descending, all of that. So, and another kind of misconception I think of this pose is that people tend to hold tension in a lot of places, and I've heard instructors say to flex your foot and bring this in, but to be honest, I don't really like this approach because it encourages you to hold tension in your body. And binds really allow us to isolate one specific part of our body, and that's it. So I would say relax your ankle, because we want to make this as passive as a process as possible so that you really can start to relax in through everything. So strong hands, strong forearms, strong arm muscles, biceps, triceps, all of that. And you're guiding this in towards your midline, elbows down beside you. And instead of flexing stuff, just relax everything and breathe. So that's the hardest part, right? Is breathing in this pose. And for me, I feel it right away. I feel kind of that digestion starting to want to move and work, the kind of those bubbling and churning you get in your belly sometimes. But when you're breathing and you have this knee way in, don't force it. Very shallow, very short and sweet breaths. So maybe inhaling to the count of 2 and exhaling to the count of 2, but doing things nice and slow, right? You're not hyperventilating, so And another mistake people make is when they're done with wind removing, they say, okay, yay, I'm done. And you're taking a lot of compression here in at your torso and just releasing it really quick. I think this is a bad idea. We should very, very slowly release our leg. So coming from here, you're holding it, let's say 100% of your strength, right? 100% holding nice and strong. And then maybe backing off to 95%, just a little bit, 90%, 80%, 70, and you very, very slowly release. And please, I would like you to try this, is slowly letting this go as you're breathing, and really pay attention to those subtle feelings through your belly and through, your stomach, intestines, because I genuinely feel you will get a different feeling from this as you slowly release, because it encourages that slow movement of things to start to shift and everything. Okay, let's talk about both knees, bringing both knees on in. And people will often hug it on in and then, curl up into a little ball. Don't worry about curling up into a ball. Again, we want to make it a passive process. We want everything to relax as much as we can. So depending on how you are built, some folks can bring, all the way over and interlace their elbows and still keep their back flat on the mat. And I'm just barely there, and it is actually almost a little bit uncomfortable on my low back to do that. So while I can do it, I generally choose not to, just because of how comfortable it is on my low back. So instead, just, grabbing for the tops of these shins here, because you don't want to lift that low back off. You still want to keep that back nice and flat. Same thing, relax those ankles, relax everything. Isolate those arm muscles and guide everything on in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Keep with your breath, keep with your breath. And then eventually you release. But remember, releasing very slowly. Next side is the left knee. Again, instead of out here, bring it in towards your midline. Elbows by your sides. Relax everything. Squeezing it on in. Releasing slowly. And that is basically your wind removing series. And the biggest thing people tend to do is not breathe in this posture. And breath is kind of where all the magic happens in every yoga posture, right? So really challenging yourself to pay attention to your breath. Yes, it feels uncomfortable, but don't breathe so that it feels uncomfortable. Slow your breath down. Take less air into your body so you're not really fighting for space there between, the air in your lungs and having your knee come on in. Just take slower, gentler breaths with less volume of air, coming in and out. And I think that really starts to kind of slow things down and everything, because we generally do wind removing at the end of our series anyways. So it's a great pre-Shavasana posture. Thank all of you so much for being here. Truly, awesomely, tremendously appreciate it. Do not forget to subscribe. I love each and every one of you. Thank you guys. Namaste.